The end is near for the Egyptian king in Merseyside. Meanwhile, Zidane is set for a spectacular return to management. Mbappe's knee injury was misdiagnosed, and Lens are at war with Ligue and PSG. This is DMAC Daily. It's official, guys. Mohamed Salah will leave Liverpool at the end of the 2025-26 season, bringing an end to a remarkable 9-year spell at Anfield, with the club confirming that a mutual agreement has been reached to allow Salah to exit a year early, despite his current contract running until 2027. So basically, he can leave for free rather than being held to a potential transfer elsewhere. Now, the Egyptian's departure is understandably an emotional one for the Reds to process. His time at the club directly coincides with one of Liverpool's most transformative and successful eras in their history. Since arriving in 2017, Salah has amassed a staggering 377 goal contributions in 435 appearances. His 255 goals make him the club's third highest goal scorer of all time, sat only behind Ian Rush and Roger Hunt. Beyond the outrageous output, as mentioned, the man also delivered frequent silverware, 8 major trophies, including the Champions League in 2019, alongside 2 Premier League titles, and remarkably 8 years into his prolific and successful tenure, further history was then made, with arguably the greatest individual campaign in Premier League history. It certainly was, from a statistical perspective, 29 goals, 18 assists in 38 games, breaking the division's goal contributions record and becoming the first player to win the Golden Boot, Playmaker Award, and Player of the Season award simultaneously. However, this season has marked an unexpected downward shift. Salah's output has evidently declined, and his overall influence has waned amidst Liverpool's inconsistent form. More significantly, tensions behind the scenes have since surfaced. After being left out of multiple matches earlier in the campaign, Salah then publicly expressed his frustration, claiming he had been, quote, thrown under the bus, insinuating that the relationship between him and Arne Slot had fully deteriorated. Although he was later reintegrated into the squad following AFCON, the sense of disconnect has somewhat lingered. So it's no surprise that the Egyptian is now on his way out. From Liverpool's perspective, Salah is an aging asset whose form has dropped off. It's interesting that they have let him depart for free as opposed to demanding a transfer elsewhere, but the logic sort of checks out. He's on astronomical wages currently. Getting him off the books early is akin to picking up a sizable transfer fee. It's also an amicable way to end the relationship, I think. Sure, there's been an evident strain there with this season's drama, but Salah is still entirely a club legend, a Premier League legend first and foremost, whose legacy is firmly secured. Not gonna lie, it low-key pains me as a Chelsea fan seeing how exceptional his career inevitably panned out. Just like KDB, this is a player who departed Chelsea, came back years later elsewhere, and evolved into one of the league's all-time greats. In terms of the next chapter, it seems pretty straightforward, right? It's gonna be the Saudi Pro League. No European team would fork out his enormous wage demands, considering he is evidently in decline now. But the Saudi Pro League is in need of another big-name acquisition, and what bigger a name than the Arab world's most influential footballer? Switching gears to managerial news, and it appears as though the legendary Zinedine Zidane is set to make his long-awaited return to the coaching scene as the successor to Didier Deschamps with the French national team. Now, this bombshell report was first broken by ESPN, and I know what you're immediately thinking. DMAC, ESPN? Really? Now, I want to make it clear, I respect the skepticism from the jump. Love a bit of critical thinking when it comes to football news. But this specific reporting comes directly from Julien Laurens, who is one of the most reliable journalists within French football. He is a source that I perceive as entirely credible. Additionally, this narrative aligns with confirmation from French Football Federation President Philippe Diallo, who recently revealed that France have already identified and secured their next coach ahead of time, even if the name has not been officially announced. We know that Didier Deschamps is stepping down as manager after the 2026 World Cup, ending his 14-year tenure with France. Considering his success as a World Cup winner and then finalist 4 years later, the successor would have to have ample credentials. Zidane certainly fits the bill on paper. He's a national icon, a World Cup winner with France, a Ballon d'Or recipient. As a player, Zidane's done it all, yet his pedigree as a manager is similarly unquestionable. He may have only coached at one club previously, but what a success that turned out to be, winning 3 consecutive Champions League titles, 2 La Liga titles, and 11 trophies in total with Real Madrid. Ever since departing, he has patiently sat on the sidelines for 5 years now, waiting for the right opportunity to present itself. I don't think there's a more appropriate fit to lead the next generation for France than with Zizou himself. It just makes sense. Moving to something that doesn't really make any sense, and according to The Athletic, Kylian Mbappe's knee injury was shockingly misdiagnosed after Real Madrid's medical team scanned the wrong leg during an MRI. I'm sorry, what? That sounds absolutely absurd. I'm clearly no medical expert here, but that headline is so farcical, it almost doesn't seem real. Well, it turns out it is a very real headline. So let's break this down and try to make sense of it all. Now, the initial injury occurred back in early December following a knock to Mbappe's left knee during a La Liga defeat to Celta Vigo. While the forward was then clearly feeling discomfort, including visible inflammation, Madrid's medical team reportedly conducted an MRI scan on his right uninjured knee. Now, that's according to an anonymous first-hand source within the club. Unsurprisingly, the results of that MRI scan showed no structural damage, and Mbappe was subsequently cleared to continue playing. As a result, he featured in 3 consecutive matches towards the end of 2025, even completing full games despite ongoing discomfort. During this period, he kept banging in the goals too, famously matching CR7's record of 59 calendar year goals. However, the discomfort in his left leg continued, and it was only upon further examination, another MRI scan, where it revealed a partial tear of the posterior knee ligament in his left leg. So Madrid came out with another medical update on New Year's Eve. However, they didn't exactly communicate the injury adequately, describing Mbappe's diagnosis as a knee sprain. Since then, managing Mbappe's condition has been less than straightforward, missing 7 games already in 2026 and having been gradually used off the bench in his last 2 outings. Now, it does appear as though he's somewhat recovered, but can we honestly trust Madrid's medical staff at this point? Maybe I'll buy it if the French national team's medical department gives him the all clear. Now, it is important to mention that Kylian Mbappe himself recently spoke out about his knee, saying, "My knee is fine, it's getting better." And I know there's been a lot of speculation about it and some false things have been said. That's interesting. One could argue this is all fake news, but these comments came 24 hours before this sensational allegation was made about scanning the wrong leg. So that's where we are today. Drama aside, I genuinely hope he fully recovers prior to the World Cup. Whatever criticism you may have about Mbappe as a player, especially in regards to his club career, there's no denial that when it comes to football's ultimate prize on the biggest stage, this man steps up. Staying on the topic of French football news, and a major row has broken out with PSG having requested the postponement of another Ligue 1 match, this time a potential title-defining clash against RC Lens, a move designed to maximize the Parisian Giants' chances against Liverpool in the Champions League quarterfinals. This quarterfinal tie is set to take place on the 8th and then 14th of April. However, sandwiched in between that tie is a pivotal Ligue 1 matchday away at second place Lens. With the Ligue 1 title race incredibly tight right now, PSG leading by just 1 point, this match will probably be the most decisive encounter of the entire season. PSG's argument for postponement pretty straightforward. Success in Europe benefits the entire French football ecosystem. Progress in the Champions League boosts UEFA coefficient rankings, increases financial inflows, and also raises Ligue 1's global profile. From their perspective, postponing this fixture is a logical sacrifice in pursuit of a far greater collective gain. That being said, Lens certainly don't see it that way, and their objections go far beyond a single scheduling issue. In a strongly worded statement, the club accused PSG of attempting to bend the rules in favor of the most powerful, warning that such a decision would undermine the integrity of the league. They lament that this decision would be both physically and mentally damaging for them too, postponing the fixture would leave Lens without a match for around 2 weeks, before forcing them into a congested run of games every 3 days, a schedule they argue their squad are not built to handle. Lens's manager Pierre Sage reinforced that stance, pointing out that his side have already had to balance domestic and cup commitments without any sort of special treatment. So why should they be punished for PSG's separate European ambition? This isn't an isolated incident either. PSG were previously granted a postponement against Nantes during their round of 16 tie with Chelsea, a decision that also drew understandable criticism as Nantes are actively fighting relegation themselves. This rescheduling negatively affects them big time. That precedent has only intensified frustration, with some clubs and supporters feeling Ligue 1 is increasingly being shaped around PSG's priorities. This entire saga also exposes a structural issue with the way Ligue 1 operates. The competition is grappling with declining domestic TV revenues, making European success more financially important than ever. Yet prioritizing continental performances unironically risks devaluing Ligue 1 itself. Does that make sense? Like, no other top 5 league is so willing to postpone their own league games to appease their top teams competing in a separate European competition. It's a bad look for Ligue 1. Now, for my personal take, and I am completely siding with Lens here, not because they're the underdog, but because it is absolutely nonsensical to me that the side valued at 1.2 billion euros, 3 times that of their nearest domestic competitors, is consistently receiving favorable treatment. Their squad is valued 10 times higher than Lens's. It's an absolute joke to punish Lens for PSG's European dreams. It's also ridiculous because this would be the second time this season it's happened. What happens if PSG advance to the semis of the UCL? Reschedule again? Like, where does this end? But that's just my simplistic take on it all. Let me know your thoughts on the matter below. Anyways, thanks to the legends who stuck around to the end of today's DMAC Daily. Have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow.